हो गया मैडम स्टार्ट।
Today we are going to cover a few that are important. They come in your, they come for your exams every year. So you'll find them in the topics that we will primarily be covering today. Is I will discuss the RTI, and then I will teach you notes. These are the two topics that we will cover primarily today, and then if we have time, we will start with this. Let us start with RTI. I had sent two videos on the WhatsApp group and get the context of what it is. So let us very briefly talk about what the RTI is. RTI is the right to information. Right to information is an act that came into existence where the normal public would write an application and ask the government for clarification. Okay, I am going to try to connect it again. Is it better now? आवाज बेटर आ रही है? Hello, am I audible? Okay. So, yes, as I was saying, RTI is the short form of Right to Information. Right to Information is an act that came to existence in 2005. And this act was particularly important because it gave the public or normal people like us, you and I, the right to question the government or the different organizations of the government, or it gave you the right to question authority. So if you have watched the videos that I did send on the WhatsApp group, you will know that those videos talked about how the different places where you can use RTI. So for our purpose or for your relevance, say you want clarification about your answer scripts. You give your exam and you submit your answer scripts, and say you get low marks and you're not happy with your marks. So you can do, like, you can appeal to the university through an RTI asking for clarification, which is your right to information, that why did I get low marks. So the university then, uh, I will share it at the end of the class. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Okay, so at the end, then when you ask the university for clarification about why you got low marks, then the university has to clarify it to you and give you the information that this is why you got low marks, here is where your marks were deducted, etc., etc. Or say you are supposed to get paid from an organization and you have billed and you still haven't received your payment. So then you can write an RTI appealing for the payment and asking why they still haven't paid you. So this is why you need an RTI. So today, since I have sent the videos and you have watched it, because I sent it 2 weeks ago, so I'm assuming you have watched it. If you haven't, then go back and watch it. Ask your friends to reshare it. So today we are just going to discuss the format of the RTI first. So the format of the RTI is given in your book itself. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Here. It's there in your book on page number 63. I don't know whether you can see the screen. I have shared the screen, but sometimes Microsoft gives problem. Yeah. So this is there in your book, page number 63. So like I said, the RTI is an act of the parliament that promulgated in the year 2005. Any person who is a citizen of India can seek information from a public authority. So from any authority, you can seek information by filing an application under this act. So this right to information gives you, basically makes the process transparent. It's not like you cannot question your authority. If you're not satisfied with something, or if something is not making you happy, you can appeal, you can file an application, and those people have to answer to your request. So how to write an RTI now? Just let us see the format. uh, the RTI is always addressed to the public information officer. So you can see to the public information officer, MCD Karol Bagh, Delhi, and the PIN number. So this is the uh, address. Now, if you are obviously writing the RTI to the university, then you will write the university address. So it depends on what RTI you are supposed to write. Then you start with sir and you write the subject. This is exactly like in a formal letter, or even in the letter of recommendation, if you remember, this is how you start. And then you write, like you can see, I am Ms. Bharti, daughter of Sri Satish Verma, resident of Karol Bagh. Phone number, wish to seek information as under. So now this person is seeking particular information. So first you give your own identity, whatever your name is, daughter of, son of, whomever, where do you stay, your phone number, and then you say that this is the information I seek to, like this is the information I want to have. Now, what is the information this person is seeking? What is the amount of funds granted to the MCD school located at Tank Road? So this person is particularly asking about this, the funding for this school in the financial year 2018 and 19, and how much of fund is allocated under midday meal scheme. So this person is asking for information regarding the funding of the school in the financial year 2018 and 19. Say you are writing to the university asking for your asking about information, like asking for information about your answer script, then you will write I, whatever your name is, son of or daughter of what, whomever, resident of whichever place, seek information under, what is the information that you're seeking, the you write the subject, you write your roll number, you write your which year, like you appeared for, like whichever year you appeared for the exam, and you write that the reason why you're seeking information, that why has my marks been deducted, or I want more clarification about the answer script, etc. And then after you write the main reason, then you write, I hereby inform the following formalities have been completed by me. So that I have deposited the requisite fee of rupees 10, whichever way you have, favoring MCD Karol Bagh, dated this, the particular date. So you will also inform them that, like, if whatever the need be, whatever is the necessity, you have completed the formality, and then you write yours sincerely, your name, your address, and then you complete the letter. So you can see this is very much, this application is a very standard application, like a formal letter itself, where you just start with addressing whichever officer you're addressing, writing the address, then starting writing the subject, writing the body, and then finishing it with your own name and signature. So it's a very standard process, and since the videos clearly tell you what an RTI is, I think you have like understood what how you can use it for separate purposes. So here, this is one thing that I had to discuss. Do you any of you have any questions regarding the RTI? Anybody has any questions regarding the RTI? Then we'll move on to note making, which is why I'm asking. Okay, since none of you have questions, let us see the question that came for RTI in one of your question papers. Uh, okay, see, uh, there's this question of the RTI question, which is there in your book. The end of your book has question papers. You were denied admission to BA program in DU College. Write an RTI to the college concerned seeking information on admission eligibility and the details regarding the eligibility of those admitted. So what you are asking, like DU has not given you admission into their like into the BA program. Some college, whichever college you want to write about. So now you write an RTI to the college concerned, like whichever college denied you admission, and you ask for information on the admission eligibility, like what is the eligibility criteria and the details about those who have been allowed, because you're trying to see why you haven't been allowed as against those who have been admitted. So this is like the information that you're seeking from the college. So I would like you all to do this question as a practice, because like I said, it will help you. As you can see, this comes in your exams. Okay, now we will move on to the second bit that I had to teach you, note making. Now with note making, I'll first give you the brief of what note making is, and then I'll show you the format that has to be followed. Okay, so let us begin with what is note making. Now, all of you, I don't know whether you have done note making in school, because note making is also there in school. So you must already have an idea of what note making is. So note making is an exercise which is required to make longer things small. So it requires you to summarize, to paraphrase. And why is this important? Because say for example, the lecture that I'm delivering in class right now, obviously you cannot write down each and every word that I'm saying in the speed that I'm saying it, because that is not humanly possible. As a human being, you cannot do that. Though, like whatever I'm saying, you're copying it. So, which is why you write down the points, what I'm saying. Like the main points is what you write down. So, from the say the RTI, what I talked about, what I said was the RTI is the short form of right to information, which came to existence in 2005. So, instead of writing so many things, what you write is RTI hyphen right to information. In bracket, you write 2005. So that way you're not writing everything that I am saying, but you are writing the main point of what I am saying. So that is what note making is, because it is impossible for a person to copy each and everything being told to them or dictated to them. What they do is they make it shorter and they write the important points. Now, note making, obviously you all of you make notes for your exams, for your learning purposes. So you all know what the function of a note is. You are not writing this note to learn it word by word. You're not going to learn is, the, that. Those you know how to form sentences. What you need to, however, keep in mind, or what is important, is that you cover the main points. Now, what is the purpose of note making? The purpose of note making is that our brain obviously cannot retain everything that is being told to us. So even this lecture that I'm giving you, you can't remember each and every word of this lecture, or even the important points of this lecture, if you don't write it down. Writing it down is just going to help your brain remember कि हाँ ये point भी discuss हुआ था, ये point important था. So this is why you should make notes, because the note is something that you can go back to once the class is over. The note is what you will go back to when the exam comes. You won't obviously be getting the classes. Obviously, you can hear the recording if you like the recording of the lecture, but then again you have to hear 1 hour worth of lecture. So what you can do is, whereas if you just write the important points that I said, probably 1 घंटे में the important absolutely जो crucial points है वो शायद I said for 20 minutes. So 20 minutes worth of writing if you have, you already can cover that topic in 20 minutes. Why will you listen to again a 1 hour lecture to cover that particular topic? So this is why you need to make notes. Because the amount of information that you are receiving, it is not possible for you to remember all of them. So you jot the main points down so that you can go back to it at a later point. And it will take you much lesser time than again rehearing the lecture, etc. etc. So you need to note make, like note making as an exercise is important. Not only say for your academic purpose, but note making exists even in offices. Like say when the manager has a personal assistant, and the personal assistant is usually taking notes, because whatever the manager is mentioning, whatever is important for the PA to take down the notes so that he or she can remember what are the things that have to be done. So now the reason why this is an important, like why this is a separate topic, is because there is a format that you can follow to write notes. That format will help you write notes as efficiently as possible, and it can be something that you can actually go back to. So now let us, before we get into the format, let us just see why do we need to make notes. Because I said one is because there's so much information that is out there that you just try to get to the important points. Even say, forget just lectures. Say when you are, if I give you a question and you are supposed to write the answer. Now to take help about the question that I've given you, you go to Google and you Google that topic. So many articles will come up on the same topic, right? Then what do you do? If you are going to sit and you're going to write everything down that is written in so many articles, then obviously it's no point. Like, firstly, you're just copying. Secondly, you don't know what's important, you don't know what's not important. So the point is to read different things and to bring it together. You need to take out the important points from each of these articles. Say आपने 5 आर्टिकल पढ़े हैं फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर असाइनमेंट, तो 5 आर्टिकल में बहुत चीजें सेम होगा, बहुत डिफरेंट होगा. जो डिफरेंट चीजें भी होगा वो शायद इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं होगा, तो यू विल नॉट राइट दोज. The same cheeses which are important, or the different cheeses which are important, those you will write it in form of a note so that you can use it for your assignment, or you can कि ये सब पढ़ के this is the important things that I got to learn. Then obviously you can use it for future reference, like I said, because you won't remember everything that I'm saying, or you won't remember each and everything that you have read in 5 articles. It's not possible. So if you make notes, then you can go back to that particular topic later on, because you already have your notes in writing कि मुझे जो important लगा था मैंने लिख के रख दिया, मुझे जो लगा interesting मैं लिख के रख दिया. So you will have material to go back to in the future for reference. Then the third point is you can filter ideas uh, from what you have read, and you can delete the information that is not useful, which you can understand that obviously you can filter, or you can just keep those ideas that are relevant, and you can delete or eliminate the ones that are not. And obviously it helps you with revision. Everyone goes back to their notes only to revise, because baki sab is so much, right? Books and everything. So you usually go back to your notes only to revise. So this is the purpose of note making. Now let us see how to make a note. I am sure that you have made notes at some point. Uh, okay, before I show you the format, okay, so the question that you have asked me is that write RTI in any place means any situation. Depends on the situation, right? What are you seeking? RTI is right to information. So only when you are asking for information will you write an RTI. You're not writing a complaint. You're not writing uh, a desire or a wish. You're writing a particular thing where you are asking for information. Why have my marks been deducted? Or why is the funding not coming? Why have I not been paid? You're asking for information. So the RTI mainly gives you information about particular things. Okay. Now, just give me 1 minute. I will show the format of. Is my screen visible? You all see my screen? Well, I hope you can. Okay. So now let us see the technique in what you can do. So first technique that first is heading. First you write the heading of the topic that is being discussed. So say for example today's topic is note making. Okay, not let's not do that. Let's say there's a small paragraph. Usually you are given a paragraph and you have to make a note from that paragraph. So there's a small paragraph. First you write the heading. So the heading will be what the paragraph is about. So your first idea is to write the heading. Then so what falls in the heading? The first thing that falls in the heading, just 1 minute. Yeah. The first thing that falls in the heading is that i- is that you are going to write what is the key idea of the thing that we are discussing, or I mean not we are discussing, but is there in the paragraph. So you're going to write down the key idea that is there. So the first significant thing about note making is that the reader or you have to figure out what this topic deals with and write that in the heading so that you know what this topic is about. Say later on when you're revising this topic, when you go back to this particular page, the heading will tell you that this is a note about this. So say this is a note about types of communication. So your heading will be types of communication so that you know that this topic covers whatever note you have written covers types of communication. Then the second thing that you have is after the heading, once you have written the heading and you know what this is about, after the heading you write the subheading. Now subheading is, so types of communication will have many things, right? So the heading is say the idea topic. Then you will, what is subheading? Heading is when you are like subheading is the top the ideas or the topics being discussed under the main topic. Like I said, types of communication. So there are different types of communication, right? So the main heading is types of communication. Subheading will be the different types of communication. So what is the subheading? The subheading is the or the ideas that come under the main heading. So this is the subheading. Now say the whole idea of note is to make it easy for you, right? So say this is number one subheading. So number one point, you write one subheading and then under that you will have one. Here you will write the summary of the subheading. So this will be here you will write a small summary. Now there can be more than one, like now under say for example, now this is like a very simple format. Okay, then you can have a main topic, you can have one subheading, then under the subheading also you can have different things. So say for example, here let me give you an example, it's just easy. Heading type, now subheading. Okay, now comes to subheading. One is verbal. Now what is communication? One point. Okay, now what is verbal communication? So you write after you write verbal communication, now there are two types of verbal communication. One point. Okay. Okay. Now you then you write the summary of the whole thing. Then the section number two, non-verbal. Then again you have 2.1, the different types. Then you have 2.2.3 and so on and so forth. Like this is the normal structure. So what do? You first have a heading, like the note maker should first write the main idea of the passage that they are making the note on. Then they go on, under the heading they write the subheading. The subheading is the subordinate idea. Then once the subheading is done, it is essential to write points under each subheading. So as many subheadings as you have, you will write points under each subheading like I just showed you. Then once you're done with that, now the other things to keep in mind. In a note, you don't need to write everything. The whole idea of a note is to make something shorter, to make it smaller. The fact that I'm giving this lecture to you so that you don't have to again read something that is for 1 hour, the idea is that you make it short. So you don't have to write complete sentences, you can write shortened sentences. The other point, a very important point in note making is that you can also write short forms, which is called abbreviation. But obviously by abbreviation I don't mean ki normal words ki abbreviation. Like don't write like R as just the alphabet R, or don't write CU as like the alphabet C and U. Not those. By abbreviation I mean ki real long words ko you're making short. So say verbal communication or communication ko you write COM. That is an abbreviation. So what these abbreviations do, these abbreviations will help you take down the notes. Like all these things that I'm telling you, because they can be long, you might not be able to write them down quickly. So your whole idea is you're going to shorten the words so that you can write them down quickly. Now that is just not the end of it. The point is that once you have used these abbreviations, what you do is you have to make a keyword or a key, like a separate keyword writing which abbreviation means what. So say you have like I said, so once you finish with this note, right, abbreviation, and then say from means, say you have used abbreviation for some other word that you have used over here. I can't, like, because I'm making this up, I obviously can't remember. But say you will write down the abbreviations as a keyword separately so that the person reading your note knows what those words are. Like com can mean anything. I won't know what com is until I know that you're using com here for communication. So this is how you make a note. So you have your heading, then you have your subheading. Under your subheading, you have the separate topics that you're going to cover, and then you write a small summary. Then you go to the second subheading and you do the same. And do not forget to number it. You have to number the points that you are writing. And then at the end, you will write your abbreviations. Am I clear? Did you understand? Anyone has any questions regarding note making? Okay, since no one has any questions, let us just see how the note making questions come for your exam, and then we'll move on to the third thing that I had to teach you. Okay, so when I was asking you to about the note making, so you can see in your question paper, you have been given a passage. Here you have been given a passage and you have been said that read the passage given below and answer the questions. So you read the passage and you do all the answering of the questions. Now you can see question number 2. On the basis of your reading of the above passage, prepare a note on it using headings and subheadings. Use recognizable abbreviations wherever necessary. So here they have asked you to make a note from the above passage that you have read, and they have asked you to do it, write headings and subheadings and use abbreviations, the one that I was talking about, which means use short forms wherever necessary. So you can see that these are the type of questions that come from your note making. Again, it would be advisable that you practice this from your question paper for your own, like it will only help you. Okay, now the third thing is I had to discuss what comprehension is. Even though you already know what comprehension is, I still wanted to give you a brief about what comprehension is, and that is the third topic that we are going to cover today. 1 minute. So I know that you all have been, just 1 minute. Yes. So I'm sure you all have done comprehension in school. Comprehension is something that has been taught to us as children. We started doing it from a very young age. So I know that you all have been doing comprehension. But like you can see from the question paper that I just showed you, that comprehension is something that you have to even do for your English fluency, or you have to still keep doing in your life. So now what is comprehension? Now, everything that we discussed so far, all your suggested readings, everything in the book that you have is perfect for comprehension practice. Like, do not worry about that. Let us see what is comprehension. So, reading comprehension is the ability to process text, understand its meaning, and to integrate it with what the reader already knows. Now, what does this mean? So, reading comprehension or comprehension is the ability or is the capacity to understand the meaning of what you are reading. So from the beginning of this semester, of this course that you have, the whole idea has been for you to make you better readers, to make you better observers, to make you understand something better. Like that has been the main aim of this whole course. So you know that it is designed to make you comprehend, to uh, to nurture in you the ability of comprehension. And what is that? It is the ability to process text, which means whatever you're reading, you understand the meaning, and you integrate it or you apply it with something that you already know. So see, everything that we read just gets added on to all the information that is already there in our brain. Now we have lived for some time in this, like on this planet, so we have grown up. All of you are also adults, I think, like you're all 18. So you have come from a certain place, you have read certain things, you are in college, you have finished your school, you have studied so much. So it's there in your brain somewhere, right? Like the main ideas, the main topics, it is there in your head. So the idea is that uh, as a person, like reading new things or taking in new information, you are able to apply it or connect it to the information that is already there in your brain. So today, if you read a story and you are reminded of something that you read many years ago, you should be able to connect ki, oh my god, this story is very similar to that story that I had read. So the what does comprehension do, or why is comprehension necessary? To make you capable of doing this process in your own head. So the fundamental skills that you require for comprehension is efficient reading, which means that you should know the meaning of words, You should have the ability of understanding the meaning of a word from discourse context, which means that you should understand it in its context. You know that one word can mean many things, right? But when you're reading something, you should understand that particular word in that particular context. So comprehension requires you to have the ability for this, and the more you do comprehension, the more you gain this ability. The ability to follow organization of passage, which means to follow ideas, like to follow a thought process, to know what can come after what. Like obviously our thoughts can be haphazard, but when you're telling a story, there is a particular sequence. So to follow a sequence, like when you watch a movie, you know that some one incident happens after another incident. So similarly, the idea is that you are able to follow that sequence. You are able to understand कि इसके बाद क्या हो सकता है, इसके बाद क्या होने वाला है, या फिर you like बहुत random से चीजें ना हो. That is what comprehension allows you to do. It allows you to have some coherence. So this is the second like the other thing that you gain from doing reading comprehension. You understand, you can look for references in it. Like when you read something, like I said, everything that is written, everything that exists comes from another context, comes from a personal context, has its own place in the history of the world, in the history of the universe, in the history of the person. So obviously there will be many references. So you can understand the references. Ability to draw inferences from a passage about its content, and ability to identify the main thought in the passage. So one of the primary things that you have to do is understand the theme of the passage, understand the main thought that exists in the passage. So this is what comprehension is. Now I know that this sounds very complicated when you break it down like this. So just to make it simple, comprehension is your ability to read something and to understand its meaning and to use it in your own way. That is what reading comprehension is. Obviously, everything else written here is important for you to know meaning of different words, for you to be able to understand those words in its context, for you to make references, for you to understand iske baad kya hone wala hai, like the organization, the coherence. All of these are important, and all of these come very naturally if you can comprehend what you are reading. That's the whole point. If when you break down these complicated thoughts, ये बहुत सुनने में complicated लगता है, but actually like you can think about it yourself. जब you receive a text message, you can make a guess कि इसके बाद क्या आने वाला है. If you are already like say there's a discussion और बहुत text exchange हो रहा है, you can make a guess कि इसके बाद क्या आने वाला है. Similarly, that is how comprehension is. And why can you do this in the text message? Because आप ये text को comprehend कर रहे हो, आप ये text को समझ रहे हो. Similarly, it's the same thing with reading also. बस थोड़ा और deeply सोचना पड़ता है, थोड़ा और engage करना पड़ता है with the text that you're reading, but process same ही है. The brain works in the similar fashion only. Now let us see the ways how to do a reading comprehension. So say when a passage is given to you in the exam, this is the way you can look at the passage and do the comprehension. So you read the passage first once, very quickly when you get the question paper, and you understand the general idea. So बहुत सारे ideas होते हैं. It can be a story, it can be a newspaper article, it can be a story on gender, it can be a story on violence, it can be a story on caste. We covered all these in the class. So बहुत सारे themes हो सकता है. So you read the passage quickly, आपको main theme पता चल जाएगा. When you do this, this is very, very crucial and very, very important. And this everybody does. I have done it in my life as a student a few times, but it's absolutely the worst thing to do when you're doing a comprehension. Do not read the questions and try to answer it tabhi. Because everyone has the tendency कि पहले questions देख लेते हैं, ये question ये बोल रहा है, so we go back to the passage and जहाँ पे answer है वो बस लिख दे. No. Until you read the whole passage, maybe जो पहले आंसर लग रहा है वो शायद आंसर नहीं है, क्योंकि एक पूरा पैसेज में the ideas can change. It can be like a suspense story. तो शुरू में जो लग रहा है मे बी एंड में वो नहीं है. So the idea is your answer can be wrong if you try to answer your questions like that. So you have to first read the passage before you try to answer any questions. Then after you have read it once and understood the theme, it is recommended that you read it again, but this time slowly, and you understand ki, like you take in the details, you pay attention to the details. If you don't understand a word, try to underline it, and then you understand, think about other words or try to understand the पूरा sentence का meaning. एक word शायद आपको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, ठीक है, पूरा sentence पढ़ के आप देखिए कि क्या meaning हो सकता है. In all probability आपको सही meaning पता चल जाएगा. So after you are done with that, then you read the questions and you try to figure out कि answer क्या है. So 2 बार reading of the comprehension is recommended. Then you will know कि क्या answers हो सकता है. Also read the questions very carefully. Make sure you understand the meaning of the questions. ऐसे ना हो कि आप बहुत जल्दी में you just understand the question only wrong. Because sometimes, like you can see the 4th point, very often students just glance through the questions without trying to understand what it actually means, because sometimes questions trick questions hote hain. So in that case you have to, like, you don't understand the meaning immediately, so you have to try to read the questions thoroughly and with attention before you jump to like answering it. Then make sure what you write is relevant, which means make sure it corresponds to the question. ऐसे ना हो कि question एक चीज है और आप एक चीज लिखते ही जा रहे हो, because वो पूरा paragraph आपको. See, what students do when it comes to comprehension is people just don't pay attention. तो अगर question में एक word है और एक paragraph में वो same word है, in all probability students just copy that whole paragraph. तो उससे question answer गलत ही होता है. So the point is that please read. If you read, you will answer the question correctly and you will write what is relevant. But if you don't read, ये सब mistakes होगा. Then the other thing about comprehension, where marks is actually deducted, is when people don't write in their own words. Obviously, you will get some marks because a question, if the answer is right, you will get marks. But up to 50% of your marks can be deducted for not writing it in your own words. So just use your own words as far as possible. Obviously कुछ terms है या फिर अगर कुछ technical चीजें है, those you can't change. But otherwise write it in your own way, the way you write. You have to be honest and sincere and thorough about that. The purpose of comprehension is to find out whether you as students have understood the passage or not. So to just copy it down does not prove anything. That defeats the purpose of comprehension. Then the 7th point, as you can see, is stick to the facts that are given in the passage, which means that do not make up your own story. Just stick to what is written in the passage. आपकी interpretation हो सकता है, but do not change the factual details. If you may have a lot of information from various sources on the theme of the passage set in the comprehension, but your answer must be based on what is there in the passage. So अगर आपको किसी दूसरे जगह में से भी बहुत सारे information मिल गया हो, still you don't put it in your comprehension. Of course you can, if you are good enough, if you have practiced enough, then you will be able to integrate it in a way कि आपके answer के साथ it will not mess. But it's just safe to say that you should stick to the facts that is given in the comprehension itself. Then the last thing is, please write complete sentences. Do not answer in one word. Like who said this to whom, don't write just the name. Write the whole sentence, this person said this to this person. So write full sentences. Don't use abbreviations in the comprehension, which means short forms in the comprehension. Express yourself as clearly as possible. And this is all you need to do for a comprehension. So yeah, this is what I had to teach you. Like I said that every exercise that's there in your book is a comprehension exercise. For your practice, you can obviously practice from the question papers that are given to you at the back of the book. They both have a minute. Huh. They both have a comprehension. Uh, you can go back to the readings that we had done. For example, in Amal Kanti, you can go back to that poem and answer the questions that are given over there for your comprehension practice. So yeah, this is what I had to cover in today's class. Anybody has any questions so far? Any questions about anything we have covered so far or anything else? Okay, so we just have two more classes left, and in those two classes, I will discuss with you. The discussions I have left with you are, so today we covered note making, RTI format, as well as comprehension. I will cover interview and dialogue as revision in the next class. We will discuss the summary of this of the last chapter, maybe the suggested reading. So these are the two things that we'll take up in Sunday's class. And someone had asked for a revision of the FIR. I will give the revision. I'll do the revision as well. Then in the last class we can clarify doubts or solve questions. So yeah, that is all that I had to cover. If anyone has any questions, then please ask. Without any communication, it is very hard. I have been giving a lecture for the last 1 hour and there are no questions. Oh yeah, just 1 minute. Yes, 1 minute. I have posted the link. The revision of Amal Kanti we'll do in the last class. What I would suggest is, Lavanya, that you at this point maybe try to answer some of the questions from Amal Kanti and see whether you can do a comprehension out of it, or just do a comprehension out of the question paper. So see, this class we covered three main topics. So I would suggest that you practice. We covered the note making, the RTI, the comprehension. So yeah, we will revise Amal Kanti once in the last class. Which chapter? Which chapter, Lavanya? I will obviously clarify the doubt that you have. I can't teach the whole chapter because that will take the whole class, and the last class I'll do revision of most things. So I will clear the doubt that you have from that chapter. Anybody has any other questions? Okay, then I will see you all again on Sunday. Have a good weekend. Thank you, everyone. Yes, yes, I will clarify the doubt you have from Amal Kanti, but obviously I can't reteach the whole chapter. I will clarify the doubt, don't worry. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. See you on Sunday.